Okay, so back to now example number 3. We're going to find terms within the geometric sequence. So sometimes they'll kind of start the sequence off for you, and they're going to ask you to like calculate the next 3 terms in the geometric sequence that is provided. So for example, here we have 64, 16, 4, and 1. Your first step is to find the common ratio, and then in order to find the next 3, you need to multiply by the common ratio. So here we go. Check it out. I'm going to kind of show this over here. Um, when you think of common ratio, you're sort of going to be multiplying by either a whole number or sometimes by a fraction, especially when you see this is decreasing from 64 to 16 to 4 to 1. You can see that this is a decreasing pattern. That way, you know we're going to be multiplying by a fraction, but sometimes it's hard to think of the idea of multiplying by a fraction. So sometimes I just simply divide. And for example, you guys know how to get from 4 to 1. You just have to divide by 4. And so let's see if that works for the next one. 16 divided by 4 is 4, and so on. So really, to get from here to here, it's like 64 divided by 16, that equals 4. 16 divided by 4, that equals 4. And 4 divided by 1, that equals 4. Now, I'm only doing this side to give us a hint. This isn't the actual answer, but sometimes it's easier to recognize the pattern when you think of division. And so I'm bringing that up. Now, your your common ratio is not 4 because that would mean you're multiplying. So this is just to help you think about it. And then you can come up with your fraction. So let me come over here to the other side. This is our real work now. You want to think about it like this. You take the next term, 16, and divide it by the previous term, which is 64. So this is really 16 divided by 64. Now, we already know that when we do it the other way like this, we got 4. So this one is going to be backwards, 1 over 4. This right here is your common multiplier, your common ratio, okay? And so now we're going to do 4 and 16. That would be 4 divided by 16. This is also 1/4. 1 divided by 4. You know, we can't reduce that one anymore, so just 1/4. So this right here is your common multiplier. Sorry. That's not what they call it here. They call it a common ratio, which is basically the same thing. But in this case, it's a fraction, so ratio fits it better. Okay, anyways, we got 1/4. That's our common ratio. We're going to use that to calculate the next one. So we already here. 64, 16, 4, and 1. What is next, basically, is what they're asking you. So you take the 1. I'm going to do my work over here now. You take the 1 and you multiply it by 1/4. Okay, which is just going to give you 1/4. So 1/4 is the next value in the sequence. Notice it's getting even smaller. For the next step, you would take 1/4, okay, I'm here now, and multiply that by 1/4, which is going to be a total of 1/16, because 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, and so on. If we wanted one more, then we would go 1/16 times 1/4, and that would give us 1 over, let's see, 64, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that should be correct. So this is 1/64th, and so on. Okay, but we got the 3 that we needed. Here's 1, 2, and 3 of them. So now let's go back and check to see if that's actually true. Step 1 is to find the common ratio. We did that. We said it is 1 over 4. Let's see if I can actually type that in. I don't know if it's going to let me. I don't think it's going to let me during the presentation. It's not letting me. Okay, but it should be 1/4. It's not letting me type it. I don't know why. Okay, let me try this. 1. Oh, sorry, 1 over 4. Let's try that. Accept. Does it put it in there? Okay, there we go. So you had to click on that little box that was under it and then check it, and it says it's correct. So that's our common ratio. It's a fraction, and now it says multiply by the common ratio. So you would keep multiplying by 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and those are the numbers that we come up with. So it starts with 1 because 1 is the last number in the sequence right here, and we want to know what's after that. So we keep multiplying by the common ratio, and you see that it's 1 over 4, 1 over 16, and 1 over 64. Those are the same numbers that we got earlier over here. Okay, and so you can confirm that we did the work correctly. You're going to do the same thing here on this next one, but this one is sort of set up in a table. Okay, and when you see the n term, this just means it's the first term, the second term, the third term, and the fourth term. You can sort of ignore those for now. That's just the term within the sequence. Like this is the first term, 8 is the one in the first position, 12 is the one in the second position. So really your sequence just looks like this: 8, 12, 18, 27. First term, second term, third term, fourth term. That's what the n stands for. Okay, it's the term number. And so here you would go 12 divided by 8. Remember, you take the number, you take the term number and divide it by the previous term. So in this case, 12 divided by 8. Okay, and then here's your 12 and your 8. All you have to do now, let me clear this so I can show you. We have 12 divided by 8. Obviously, if you divide that in your calculator, you're going to get some sort of a decimal, but we want to keep it in a fraction because we want to show this as a ratio. And so 12 divided by 8, we can only simplify it. Well, what can we simplify the numerator and the denominator by? What goes into both of those? So the answer here is 4. 4 goes into both of these. Okay, so 12 divided by 4, that gives me 3. And 8 divided by 4, that gives me 2. I can no longer reduce this. This is my common multiplier. And so that's what I'm going to put in here. 3 over 2. Hopefully it takes it that way. Same thing here. 18 and 12, they can both be divided by 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3. And 12 divided by 6 is 2. So it looks like it's working. So far we have a common ratio between those two. We just got to double check the last one. Biggest number that goes into both of these would be 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3. 18 divided by 9 is 2. So all I did right now was reduce those fractions to show the common ratio is the same, 3 over 2. And so the common ratio is 3 over 2. Let's hope that checks in, and those are correct. So just did another example there with the table. Eventually you would have to keep multiplying by 3 over 2 to get the next one, just like we did in the previous one. Here, I'll just, let's see. I'll just show that step right there. So check it out. They're actually multiplying by 1.5, and that's because 3 over 2, if you type that into your calculator, what is half of 3? Well, that is 1.5. So this becomes your common ratio. Same thing as if you use the fraction. These two values are equivalent to each other, so it doesn't really matter which one you use. But anyways, they multiplied by the 1.5. That's probably a little bit easier to do in your calculator. Sometimes fractions can be a little more tricky. So if you just do 27 times 1.5, you get the next term, 40.5. Take the 40.5, multiply it times 1.5, you'll get the next term, and so on and so forth. So there it is. That's how you find the next term in a geometric sequence. I'll see you guys in the next video.